Happy New Year, everybody. It's Christina. Right, we're doing part 2 of the second sample, and it's bullion knot. And I was glad I rewatched Rachel doing it, because I've been doing some playing around on just some things on my own. Just been having some fun. And I was doing bullion knot. And I try to do it from memory every time, but I realise that every time I'm still getting that little thread, and I'm doing it wrong still after all this time. So after watching Rachel, I decided I am going to just do a whole heap and see if I can work out how on earth I can remember to do them. All right. I don't know why it's so hard to remember for me, this one. All right, so I'm just using roughly about what's that, about an 8 maybe? That stash that I got off someone's grandma, which was amazing. That's it. It hasn't got the little thread under. I've done it. I've finally done it. Now, I think the thing is I was coming at the bottom, thinking I had to come up through somehow come back. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't even know. I don't know what I was doing. Now I'm doing it right after watching Rachel, which is very good. And I'm glad to see they've started the work on the first piece, first page, wrapping round. Pull it through, and it just sorts itself out like that. They're like little worms. Little wormy worms. So what I need to remind myself, remember to start at the top and come back to the top, and then I should be right. I tell myself that, but you know, the reality, of course, is that if I don't do any for a while, I'll completely forget again. So maybe I'll just have to come back and watch my own video. All right, so this one, I almost did a few too many, and it was a bit... Well, Ariane Zerka, she calls them... when she does them a lot longer, she's named them as bullion tendrils. So these are cute. They're like little silkworms, which I think... I don't know, I think this is a cotton, but it's got a little bit of a shine to it, so there we go. I don't know if it matters if you wrap to the right or the left or whatever, you know, whether you go that way or that way, I don't know. You don't do it tight, just pull it through. Not meant to choke it. Here we go. That's bullion knot. I'm going to try maybe some. Try some with this variegated, because they kind of look good. Anyway, I've been just playing with all sorts of different stitches. This is one of my jelly plates that when I was printing a whole heap of backgrounds on paper, I thought I'd have a go at printing on material. You might have seen the video. And here it is. This is me putting some buttons, French knots, straight stitch, fly stitch, crosses, daisy stitch, blanket stitch, bullions. Just playing with different colours, using the bits of the backing backing shape for ideas. It's been a bit of fun, I must say. Right, let's see. Now this is the same. Well, it's the same weight. So it says number 5. So I'm assuming that that is, because this one also says number 5, so I'm assuming that that means it's 5 gauge or 5 whatever, because what was this one? This one is just a little bit thicker. Oh, I've lost my bit of paper. Thought that might have said that was a 4. A bit confusing. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We just get on with it. So I hope everyone's having a happy start to the year. Happy New Year. I tell you what, it is so nice and peaceful. Enjoying it here. When everyone goes away on holiday around you, flatmate moved out. It's just, just so happy. Happy having this time alone in my own house and playing with my space, really. Just having a good old play. Cleaning up, moving my plants around. Lovely. Contemplating even doing a video on it. Maybe I will. Okay. Let's make this, so that looks like about roughly 1 centimetre. So let's make this a tendril. So that now looks like 1 centimetre and 1 centimetre. So that will be the right amount. So let's double it and see what happens. Well, that's a good size. And I'm using them, I think it's called a milliner's needle, the type that has, the eye isn't bigger than the shaft of the needle. It's all about the same size. So there's not a big bobbly part where you thread. Right, now I'm pulling this, gathering it up. Oh, it hasn't come, I probably, well, you can see there, it's like a little bend, so you can see that. So it'll lay down like that. So you can actually do this. Right, so we need, and it's a long needle too, so I've got plenty of room to come up and down this, plenty of room here. Don't know how many wraps, I didn't count the last one. Just going to do it by eye. Maybe a little bit more, because I'm going over the top of the other one. Right, so this one, now I know in Ariane's Urches, she always ends up sometimes, well, always ends up sometimes, well that's not the right thing to say. She often ends up using some pliers to just grab the needle and help it through. But she's often working with different threads and things. So here we have a really long one. So just keeping on pulling this through. Get my fingers out of the way. And it's looping over the top there. Quite like that. It's a good one. Like that. What I might do is I'll try one of those ones where Rachel did 2 next to each other. See how that goes. Now I remember with this one I was trying to use some different colours because I did use quite a bit of blue the last time, so here we go. I think this might be the one where Rachel says it kind of looks quite good if it's variegated when you do the little, like almost like little flowers next to each other. So let's do some, just 2 strands. Let's see how we go with that. Just still using the same long. I just got a pack of, I think I got a pack of 3 or 5 or something of these ones off eBay. Does anyone use eBay anymore? It seems to me like everyone uses Amazon now. These will be little fine ones. All right. Of course, as we all know, the thinner the thread, the more wraps you've got to do to fill up the equivalent of the showing part. That's about right, I think. Right, so 1 there, anchor it down, and then do another one next to it. You know what, when you're doing it right, it works really well. There we go, it looks like 2 little sides of a pea pod. And we can do, oh, it's like a little flower, isn't it? Let's do one with 3, different colour. Probably need a few more box of threads here. I've got them all downstairs because I've just been getting home from work, going and feeding the last Christmas cats, the last people who are still on holiday, and just coming home and sitting in my lounge and thoroughly enjoying having it to myself. I can't tell you how happy I am. Nothing against having a flatmate, but oh my goodness, it's nice to live on my own for a little while. I think it wouldn't have been as bad if we hadn't have had 6 lockdowns. You know, Melbourne, hello Melbourne, Australia, highest lockdown city and longest restrictions, probably wouldn't have been as hard if, not saying it was really super hard, just saying it was, probably wouldn't have been as strained if we hadn't have had so many for so long and had to both been working from home, you know, just as people who, different age group, different everything. Anyway, I really sincerely hope that we do not have any more lockdowns. That'd be good. Sometimes your tail is a bit longer. Just pull it through, just like that. Okay, that's 1 in the middle, and what Rachel was doing was a shorter one either side. There we go. I think you probably could have a real play around with the sizes and the shapes to get all sorts of different textures and patterns with these. I'm thinking this middle one is quite raised. But that's okay because that's sort of a design thing as well. And if I put in this other one on the other side quite close, like that, another shortish one. It'll probably sort of sit, they'll sit under that top one. There we go. So there's a whole heap of different ideas for bullion knots. Right, next one is couching. I've got my little jar of scraps that I've started, my little Ort jar, O-R-T, if you haven't heard that before, Ort. And these bits and pieces are things that I was ripping up a whole heap of stuff. One of the things I was ripping ended up being making these lovely little threads. It's quite enjoyable. Right, so I'm actually going to couch down the end of this to start it off. Right, so that's gone over the top of it. Now what do I want to do with this? Well, I'm going to twirl it round a little bit just to make an end so it does have an ending. So the idea is really just to go down a bit. I'll do a loose one. The idea is to go above and below to secure it down, like that. So you can move it round. Like that. You can move it up over there if you want. Could use it as a border. I think the ideas are limitless with this. Really come back around. You could do your couching really close, you could do it far apart. Go around everything, create a little border if you want. Now it looks like I've got a little bud on a branch, so you could be doing it in a brown and making it a little tree branch. And of course you can decide how many threads you're putting in. You could do a really thick wad of threads, and you can decide whether you're couching really tight, like, you know, really bunching that up so as it's really squished tight, or you could do a wide one where you've spread out all your threads and give them plenty of room. So we've got little tight ones here, one or two tight ones here, and then a wider one. And then what you have to do still is make sure that you've got the end so it's not going to be easy to pull out, really. So you might maybe go over once or twice at the end here to really secure it. Okay, blanket stitch the left-handed way. Okay, now I thoroughly got it when Rachel said I can't remember ever how to do it because I'm the same. And I did just go and watch Ariane to see how Ariane, because it's the starting, isn't it? I think you'll agree, Rachel, it's the starting that is the little bit of a problem. But there you go. And so I'm doing it, I think, upside down compared to what Rachel did it. But this would be the edge of the blanket here and the inside. So, let's just use a little bit of material to show a bit of scrap. All right. So this would be the edge of the blanket, like so. As long as this is wrapped under the needle. Here we go. Now, obviously in a blanket, when you can really see that blanket stitches, it's a thick thread. I'm just using a very fine, I'm using the alpaca. And I was going to, now I was watching Joannette from Joannette's Crafting Corner, hello friend, and we were going to do a little swap. Joannette had some lovely threads, and I thought, and she was saying she had so much of it, so we were going to do a little swappy. And you know, I'm thinking a bit about this swapping thing. It's a great idea, and it's great to send each other a little parcel. But you know, post-COVID, there's all sorts of problems. So I was sending, I was going to send her some of the alpaca, and she was going to send me some, and she had a little parcel this size and shape that wasn't, you know, it was like this, but not thick or heavy, because it just had threads in it. And in the old days, you'd just post it almost in an envelope, wouldn't you? Just like a letter. You know what? It was going to cost her $69 US to post. Isn't that crazy? $69 to post like a little tiny parcel, because America is not sending anything other than, well, first priority post. There's no just standard post. Crazy. And also, so I was watching also the girls around the world, but I was watching Jeanette in Queensland from My Cottage Crafts. I wonder how you do a thing. Was trying to send a parcel to Canada, because they're doing also a project, a block project. And it was going, and we in Australia are not even posting to Canada at all. No, not at all. Isn't that amazing? Crazy. Anyway, so I had done the Margaret Miller postal challenge thing, which a big swap. So it was a big worldwide collage swap, and I had done 3, maybe 4 postcards, so that will be about the same size as this, but 3 thick, you know, so thicknesses of paper, so not heavy. And it cost me $20 to send to America, and I don't think she's even still hasn't even got mine. So not only are they supercharging us ridiculously, but it's not even getting there fast. So I don't know what the problem is. People use a lot of reasoning, like people are refusing to get vaccinated, so they can't go to work. So everywhere at work is short-staffed. And apparently that's happening here a bit too. Anyway, back to blanket stitch, because that's kind of more important, isn't it? Is it? I don't know. Anyway, that's blanket stitch. And I love this thread because it's all got the colours. So I can't send Joannette any of that, because maybe we need people who are travelling. If anyone's travelling to Australia or to America, we probably need to say, can you just take this suitcase of all these things I need to send? Just add a whole suitcase to your luggage worth of threads for people. Anyway, it's a bit sad. So I'm thinking that in Australia we're looking a little bit like we might have to start in-house swaps, you know, just in Australia only, Australia and New Zealand. Otherwise we just never, you know, we're not keeping up. We're not part of it. Very silly. Post-COVID silliness. Okay, I'm going to use the blue again. Right, now what's the next one? Oh, weaving. I better go and have a look what Rachel did for weaving.